Well, it is 9 p.m. and you know what we do right here every Wednesday night at the top of the hour. It is News Extra Time, and here is Fatima. And I can tell you it is a good harvest of stories, beginning with President Muhammadu Buhari's departure for Kigali, Rwanda, as the leader of the Nigerian delegation to the 26th edition of the Commonwealth Head of Government meeting, CHOGM. We of course have the Federal Executive Council, which gave approval for the repeal of the Produce Enforcement of Standard Act and the enactment of the Federal Produce Inspection Service Bill. The lingering ASU strike was also part of the deliberations, and from Maiduguri comes the cheering news of the rescue of 2 more Chibok girls as NEMA reaches out to victims of Owo church attack. In politics, are you among those beaten by the bug of procrastination or indecision? Well, the last-minute rush for permanent voters card is on. We shall bring you this and other trending issues in the political space. Make sure you're part of the interesting health-related stories, because somewhere along the line there's the fact about painful menstruation the female folks should know. Now, these are just a tip of what tonight's package is all about. So get comfortable and enjoy the full package. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Morbuba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. And we begin from the tragedy in Owo 2 weeks ago that shook our nation to its core. To the killings and kidnappings just this weekend in Kaduna State is clear that there is a design by wicked people to put the country under religious stress. In a statement, President Muhammadu Buhari believes that our religious freedom, our diversity, is what makes Nigeria great. It is this diversity that gives Nigeria its strength. That is why Nigeria's enemies seek to destroy it by putting us against one another. President Buhari says the nation will not be distracted or divided by these obviously planned and politically motivated criminal outrages. The perpetrators are cowards, he says, weak and wicked men with guns, murdering in cold blood unarmed women and children at their places of worship. Having noted the starkness of the contrast between the actions of those hateful cowards and those of true Nigerians in the aftermath of Owo, the president observed that seeing the crowd of Nigerians voluntarily rushing to donate blood after the attack, thronging the local hospitals, even in the midst of mourning, he says, "I was proud of my country. I was filled with hope." As for cowards, they will be punished for their crimes. We will bring them to justice. Rest assured that the full might of Nigeria's formidable security and intelligence forces are involved in that endeavor. For now, he says, I urge all Nigerians to come together in prayer, whether Christian, Muslim, or any of our great faiths. Let us hold to victims and their families in our hearts and minds. Let us show the cowards who seek to divide us along religious lines that we will not be divided. Let us show them that Nigerians will continue to cherish what we share while respecting each other's differences. Let us show them that Nigerians will never be bullied by cowards, extremists, or terrorists. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for Kigali, Rwanda to attend the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. He was seen off at the airport by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello, Inspector General of Police Usman Al-Ali Baba, Director General, Department of State Services Yusuf Magajibichi, and other senior government officials. While in Kigali, the President is expected to join other leaders to participate in discussions focused on the progress and prosperity of the more than 2 billion people living in the 54 Commonwealth member countries under the theme, Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. The heads of state and government are expected to reaffirm their commitment to upholding the Commonwealth Charter, which focuses on democracy, human rights, the rule of law, as well as economic opportunities and sustainable development. Range of topical issues, including post-COVID-19 economic recovery, debt sustainability, climate change, poverty reduction, youth entrepreneurship, and food security will be considered at the high-level engagement. If all things go as planned, the ongoing industrial action by Academic Staff Union of Universities may soon be laid to rest. Minister of Labour and Employment Christine Gige says government is calling for a meeting with all stakeholders to further iron out the grey areas, if any. Briefing the press at the Presidential Villa in Abuja after the Federal Executive Council meeting, the minister says it is untrue that no one is talking to the union, stressing that Salaries and Wages Commission, NIDA, and the union are currently working on the right payment platform, which would be useful to all the unions. It appears that soon the regulatory framework for private-public partnership in Nigeria will become more stringent, as Senate is considering a bill to that effect. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius reports that the bill, which has passed second reading, seeks to repeal the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission Act.
This is the second and last plenary of the week with improved attendance. Some senators now sitting in new positions following chains of defection. Report on the Public-Private Partnership Regulatory Commission bill was one of the three considered. The proposed law, sponsored by Senator Adamu Alero, is to ensure transparency and efficiency in supervising service of development projects and ensure value for money.
Its passage will strengthen the Commission to further attract private sector participation in our infrastructure development.
This is one piece of legislation that will change the landscape of funding systems of our infrastructure in the country.
The bill that seeks to establish in vitro fertilization authority to regulate and strengthen the practice of reproductive technology, sponsored by Senator Jibrin Barau, and the National Commission on Child Destitution Establishment Bill by Senator Aliyu Wamako, passed second reading.
This includes the appropriate balance between legislation, regulation, and reproductive freedom, liberty.
This technology has brought succor to families, and that is why I support it.
After consultation with state and local government and other relevant stakeholders, we take master plan for total eradication of child soldiering in Nigeria.
Senate is to investigate the oil mining leases granted to Shell Petroleum Development Company from 1959 to 2019, alleged to have shortchanged federal government of $200 million, as moved by Senator George Thompson Sekibo. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, directed the Committee on Judiciary to engage the Chief Justice of Nigeria on how to address the current crisis in the Supreme Court.
So I will urge our Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to get involved and find out what the real issues are and how the National Assembly can help.
Party switching continued on the floor of the Senate. Senator Ezenwa Onyewuchi, representing Imo East, bid farewell to PDP as he joined Labour Party, while Senator Haliru Jika of APC, representing Bauchi Central, embraced NNPP as his new political party. APC now has 65 senators, PDP 38, NNPP 3, ABGA 1, YPP 1, and Labour Party 1. Senate is to screen the 7 ministerial nominees next week Wednesday from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the repeal of the Produce Enforcement of Standards Act of 2004 and the enactment of the Federal Produce Inspection Service Bill 2022. State House correspondent Jido Nufadi reports.
Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Niyi Adebayo, says the justification for the memo is primarily to have an all-encompassing produce inspection regime in Nigeria that is capable of ensuring the best practices in the export of produce from the country.
The old law, the original law was
enacted in 1950, and then it was renewed in 2004. And we believe that it is time for it to be brought up to date, and that is what we have done. And Council approved that it's approved it, and it will be passed on to the National Assembly. Council directed that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice transmitted to the National Assembly.
He also speaks on the second memo he presented to the Council.
The second memo that we brought was for Council to approve the award of contracts for consultancy services for the pre-development of the Funtua Integrated Textile and Garment Park in Katsina State, and for the Medical Tourism Park in Lekki Special Economic Zone in Lagos State, in a total sum of about 1.4 billion naira.
The minister says government is getting the private sector involved in the management and development of the Kano and Calabar economic zones.
Today, we brought to Council a memo for an ENSITF by which the operations will now be digitalized. Know the payments that are put in from any of their stations. They have 56 branches and 11 regional offices. So in the comfort of your office, you can pay. And it registered in that platform. And that money is now tracked into a central pool.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In another story, the House of Representatives is of the opinion that increasing the number of recruits into the service of the various security agencies will further enhance the fight against insecurity. This came up when Representative Bulus Maring brought to the attention of the House the abduction by bandits of a traditional ruler in Plateau State. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The abduction, Representative Marin said, was carried out in the early hours of Monday this week.
The bandits, who were more than 40 in number, came heavily armed, shooting sporadically and firing gunshots, which left the community scared, helpless, and eventually went away with the traditional ruler.
The Office of the National Security Advisor, through the Office of the Director of JSS, and I want to tell you, they have done more than enough. Those two. The information gathering and intelligence is perfect. At times they give you the direction and even where they are meeting. But it's the implementing agency where even if they are going to recruit the entire villages now and give them this like arms, somebody carrying an arm, a gun that can discharge 100 bullets in one round. How will you face it?
The Borno model that I want to recommend for the state governments in the various affected states to equally vote and support is the formation of a very robust vigilante groups.
Another motion from Mohammed Jega on last week's flood in Gwandu and Jega, Kebbi State, in which lives were lost, saw House members calling for assistance to those affected.
The flood has resulted into untold hardship on the affected communities. Many communities in these local government areas are also living in total darkness due to the destroyed electrical installations.
5 bills passed second reading included the bill to establish Chartered Institute of Cooperative and Social Enterprise, sponsored by Benjamin Kalu, and the bill seeking the establishment of Federal College of Education Technical Gwaram, Jigawa State, sponsored by Shitu Yusuf Galambi. The House Committee on Electoral Matters has briefed the House on the decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to extend the period of the continuous voters registration exercise.
It has become imperative that it has to be extended, and not just extending, but also additionally, it will be done even during weekends. He has agreed to that, and he is going to make statement, inshallah, very soon to that effect. So that extension also involves additional machines, additional ad hoc staff, and of course he's going to collaborate with the security agencies.
The House had last week passed a resolution urging INEC to extend the period for the continuous voters registration. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the Buhari administration will continue to give support to states irrespective of the party in power. The minister also discloses that the Federal Executive Council has approved a memo presented by the Ministry of Works in favor of Yobe State for a refund of money spent on road projects on behalf of the federal government. State House correspondent Chidoni Fade reports.
The 4 states, as Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed says, have been refunded monies spent on behalf of the previous government, and the latest that got the nod of the Federal Executive Council for reimbursement is Yobe State.
A committee at Abuja was set up to inspect the claim. They were actually found to be true. They were reviewed, and from the 20 billion they asked for, and certified 18 billion naira as refund due to Yobe State.
Minister Lai Mohammed, who is standing in for the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, at the press briefing, takes on the second memo approved for the Ministry of Works and Housing.
Given the population of Gorimpa now, they need not 2, but actually 3, MVA injection substations, and that contract was approved today.
And the sum of 1.6 billion naira. And the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
To security matters now, Abuja-Kaduna Highway is still a red zone on the nation's security map. To change the narrative, a team with land and air asset has been deployed to fortify the highway. Security correspondent Francis Fom was part of the patrol team and now reports.
With a gallantry in the hallmark of the mobile force.
These are the police patrol teams deployed to restore normalcy on the Abuja-Kaduna Highway, receiving their daily brief from the Commissioner of Police in charge of mobile police force.
And every police man is gallant.
Since after the train attack of March 28 by terrorists along the Abuja-Kaduna rail track, the Nigeria Police Force deployed its operatives to the highway for daily patrol.
The patrol itself is a confidence-building patrol.
And leading the patrol team from Abuja to Kaduna is DCP Mohammed Guri with armored personnel carriers with about 20 Hilux van and 1 helicopter for air interdiction mission, moved through Zuba to Kaduna while conducting air and land surveillance.
The IGP, now that it is only the road that is going to be used for transportation, initiated this patrol, and we have been on it right from that 28th on 29th to date. We have been on that patrol.
Motorists applauded the efforts of the force in restoring normalcy on the highway and appeal for more support for the police in ridding the nation of all forms of criminal elements.
Continue with the security patrol so that we can have some peace.
Road you don't better now, not be like before. Basically, na security we work well now because no go see anything for the road tomorrow now.
Every day, my friend, morning to evening, we will patrol the highway until we are sure and convinced that the highway is safe before we return to base.
DCP Guri is assuring Nigerians that the Abuja-Kaduna Highway is fortified with enough police operatives for the safety of travelers. Francis from NTA News.
Okay, as long as there is life, there's always hope, the saying goes. That is why the Theatre Commander Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, is saying the military will continue to advance further into the Sambisa Forest and other terrorist enclaves to rescue the remaining Chibok girls and other abductees still in the insurgents' captivity. The Theatre Commander stated this while presenting 2 rescued Chibok school girls with their babies to newsmen at the headquarters Theatre Command Operation Hadinkai in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Memuna Gerber reports.
Sambisa zuwa gaba na dawo ni yar Chibok ne. Da yamma sojoji sun kai yaki mu da Boko Haram duka aka gudu maza da mata shine na buya a karkashin bishiya nace baran sake kwana a jejin nan ba zan tafi gurin sojoji su kai ni gurin iyayena.
Hawa Joseph and Mary Dauda are two Chibok girls abducted at GGSS Chibok in 2014, recently rescued by the military during separate operations around Bama and Goshe general areas in Borno State on 12th and 14th of this month. The rescued girls, who were aged 14 at the time of their abduction, said they were forcibly married to insurgents, but their husbands were killed during military operations. Theater Commander Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, said the military is putting more efforts to rescue the remaining girls.
We are also conducting operations with the Multinational Joint Task Force to ensure that we take care of the international boundary. All this is in place so that we ensure that we don't give them the insurgents any respite or any hiding place.
During preliminary investigations, and they were said that, who are you? Mentioned their name, and part of the Chibok girls, they responded that way, and they were brought back.
General Musa disclosed that over 57,000 terrorists have so far surrendered and warned Boko Haram logistics suppliers to desist from supporting the insurgents. He further warned farmers and children to be careful as there are unexploded ordnances in the bush, saying clearance operations are ongoing for more farming activities to commence. The theater commander said Maiduguri-Domboa Road will soon be reopened with more personnel being trained to clear lots of IEDs planted on the road. From the Military Command and Control Center in Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News. And from Maiduguri, let's head to Akure, where barely 1 week after it distributed medical consumables for treatment of survivors of a war terror attack, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has again distributed food items and other relief materials to 120 households who were victims of the attack. Kayode Olorundare reports.
The food items distributed include 120 bags of 10 kg of rice, the same quantity of beans and maize, and 25 kegs of palm oil. The non-food items include 300 pieces of towels, 400 pieces of wasp print, 300 pieces of Guinea brocade, 50 cartons of toilet soap, among others. Delivering the materials on behalf of NEMA DG, here Commodore Edward Adedogun, said a suitable date will be set aside to deliver the relief materials directly to the affected households.
Initially, we were able to distribute some medical supplies to the 4 hospitals where the injured were taken to. It's not about handing over relief items. It's about asking God to comfort the people that are bereaved.
Receiving the items on behalf of the Catholic Bishop of Ondo Diocese for the victims, Reverend Father Andrew Abayomi commended NEMA for rising to the occasion.
We've already seen the materials, and on the part of us not bringing the beneficiaries, it is because many of them are even still in the hospitals, and those already discharged, they still go for their daily checkup.
The team was also at the palace of Olowo of Owo, Oba Ajibade Ogoye, who lauded NEMA for coming to the rescue of the victims in line with their core mandate.
Believe the beneficiaries will have hope when you distribute whatever you must have brought to them.
The team had earlier paid a condolence visit to Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu to commiserate with him on the terror attack and promised not to relent in their efforts at rising to emergency situations. From Owo, Kayode Olorundare, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari joins founder and chancellor of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Ekiti State, as well as management and staff of the institution to celebrate the favorable rankings, which places the university as the best in Nigeria and the 400th in the world. The president, in a statement, knows that the visionary and scholarly leadership style that continue to shape the curriculum, operations and results of Abuja since it was established 12 years ago, with the guiding principle and discipline, industry determination, service integrity, sound education and quality leadership, he says. The Times Higher Education World Rankings also validates the resourcefulness of hardworking academics, particularly in research, and the diligence of students who continuously stretch their bodies and minds to make history. If you have voting age, have you gotten your PVC? Well, the last minute rush is on. So when News Extra returns from this breather, is going to be all about PVC. If the June 30th deadline for the continuous voter registration exercise is given by INEC is still anything to go by, then it's just 1 week more. But why the last minute rush in the collection of the PVCs 12 months after the exercise started? Mayor Ogidi gives us a situation report and why there is much interest in the collection, especially by youths.
Sites of PVC collection centers, 28th August 2018, the last day when INEC suspended the exercise ahead of the 2019 elections. Lessons forgot too soon by many. June 2021. The machines deployed again for the continuous voters registration exercise ahead of the 2023 elections. The centers were virtually empty at the beginning. The professor prophesied.
Some people say that we are masters and mistresses of the 11th hour. We leave it until the last moment, then we rush to do the registration. And then you hear citizens talking about being disenfranchised. Well, we have been doing this for the last 9 months. The queues were not as long, but now I'm sure the queues will build up.
Prophecy has come to pass. Few days to the June 30th deadline. Centers likened to protest grounds. Multitude await to get their PVCs.
It should be a place whereby, even if it's in the church, or in the mosque, or in the supermarket, or in the parks, you know, there should be a place, a lesser place that is going to be made, that things are going to be just easy for people to get their PVC.
I felt like it would be more efficient if they had divided people based on what they came for, so that it will move faster. We have been here for hours, people are still coming, and
there will be more machines will be deployed.
INEC goes for PVC collection campaign. Celebrities on the backup in Lagos for the Youth Vote Count concert. The party tells the expected participation by the youths in the 2023 polls. Concert over in Lagos. Special registration centers opened in Abuja at the old parade ground.
The objective of the campaign is just to connect young people with centers of power, to get them to be a little bit more proactive in the governance process and to begin to shift culture and perception.
The youths between 18 and 39 years have the highest percentage. So they have that opportunity to change things the way they want.
The crowd is increasing. Will INEC extend the exercise? No statement yet. So the 11th hour rush still on. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, says the party's drive for more women participation in politics is top on the policies of the National Working Committee while addressing a women advocacy group at the party's national secretariat. The chairman challenged them to play their role as change agents of the Progressives agenda. Salihu Ganara has that.
The Permanent Voters Card, PVC, a key to the ballot through which citizens perform their civic role of recruiting political leaders. The importance of the PVC in a democratic society and in a nation like Nigeria that is getting prepared for another general elections inform this advocacy rally with the APC National Secretariat.
Go and register and obtain your PVC. Yes. And don't give it to anybody, don't sell it. With the election, we have come to realize that your vote counts.
Do the best you can. Yes. Promote women, yes, because you are disadvantaged over time in the ages. There's nothing wrong in the advocacy. But also spare a word or two for your partners, for your partner.
The 774 local governments in Nigeria are the target, even as they canvass for consideration for more women as running mates for executive elective positions.
We should have a woman as a vice president. I want to tell you that we have more than capable women
that can fit in as the vice president of this country.
The constitution says that for you to step forward and request to compete in any competition, there's no discrimination as to gender.
They presented a document containing their demands to the national chairman, expressing their hope of favorable response and actions. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
To vote in the general election next year is a task that must be done. This seems to be the mindset of eligible voters who are bent of registering and getting their permanent voter cards. Because of this determination, the clamor for an extension of continuous voter registration by Independent National Electoral Commission to enable them register has continued to heighten. In Calabar, the Cross River State capital, most eligible voters are making frantic efforts to get registered, but to no avail. In an interaction with correspondent Maureen Leo Ajam, the electorates appeal for the extension of the exercise and the decentralization of the registration centers to the ward level for ease of registration.
Although the Federal High Court in Abuja has stopped the Independent National Electoral Commission from ending voter registration on 30th June 2022, many eligible Nigerians in Cross River State are clamoring for extension and effective strategies to get people registered. They note that accessing the various services of either change of voting point, loss of PVC, after online registration are still cumbersome.
Last time I applied for a transfer, that Marian office, but yet up till now I'm yet to get my voters card transferred to Cross River because this wasn't the place I registered.
To collect some is a problem, and they did not start early. I did my registration online, so they gave me they sent me a message and email yesterday that I should go to Maritime, which I went there now and they are not there, and that is a whole lot of stress for me.
Others are calling for the decentralization of registration units to the ward level.
INEC should open some other points for this registration.
Efforts to speak with the Cross River State resident electoral commissioner were not successful. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
And barely 8 months to the 2023 general elections, the Department of State Services is appealing to Nigerians to shun violence, play the game by the rules, do not be a thug, and say no to violence. Public Relations Officer of the DSS, Dr. Peter Afunaya, reels out this message at a briefing in Abuja. Francis From was there.
Let us rise and defeat violence, crime and sabotage against our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. This is the message from the DSS to Nigerians.
We have to live in peace, in tolerance, and in love. Shown like we have stated earlier, fake news, hate speech, and indeed every act that will make us live in fear or distrust or disharmony.
The DSS calls on Nigerians to apply relevant legal security guidelines with a view to safeguarding lives and property.
As the domestic intelligence agency of Nigeria, and Commonwealth for that matter, we will not shake the our responsibility. We will continue to discharge it without let or hindrance, without fear of any kind, no matter who hopes is God.
The service also advised individuals who may want to resort to negative vices in their greed to get rich quick through kidnapping, killings for rituals and other heinous crimes to desist from such or face the music, while urging the citizens to avoid wrong use of the social media. Francis from NTA News.
Let's head to Ado Ekiti now, where the Independent National Electoral Commission has presented to Ekiti State Governor-elect Biodun Biodun Oyebanji the certificate of return. At the ceremony in Ado Ekiti, the National Commissioner in charge of Lagos, Ekiti, Oyo and Osun states, Sam Olumekun, gave an assurance that the commission would build on the achievements recorded during the Ekiti election for future elections in the country. Kola Adeboboye reports.
Biodun Abayomi Oyebanje of the All Progressives Congress APC, having won the governorship election, defeating the candidate of the Social Democratic Party SDP, Segun Oni, and 14 others, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) presented to him certificate of return in line with Section 72, subsection 1 of the new electoral law, which empowers the umpire to issue certificate of return to the winner of an election. The commission believes the ceremony is essential. The Deputy Governor-elect, Monisade Afuye, also received a certificate of return. National Commissioner in charge of Lagos, Ekiti, Oyo, and Osun State, Sam Olumekun, who observed that the governorship election was successful and violence-free, wants the governor-elect to be magnanimous in victory. The governor-elect, Biodun Oyebanji, promised not to disappoint the people of Ekiti State.
We have a business agenda with the blend of both campaign now and ambition, and we will remain straight in this elected.
Biodun Oyebanji is expected to take over the mantle of leadership as governor of Ekiti State in October 16 this year from Gubernatorial in Ado Ekiti. Kola Adeboboye, NTA News.
Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) says it will continue to intensify efforts towards ensuring customers of electricity supply in Nigeria are efficiently served while looking into their complaints. This is at a 3-day consumer interactive session in Sokoto, organized by the Commission and hosted by Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company. Shehu Mohammed Detti concludes the report.
The customer interactive session was an opportunity for customers of electricity in Sokoto to ask questions and even register their complaints. Some of the issues that dominated discussion include epileptic power supply, low voltage, obsolete nature of KEDCO equipment, estimated billing, metering, and poor communication between KEDCO and its customers. Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission said the aim of the interactive session is to spur Kaduna Electric Distribution Company to do more towards meeting the yearnings and aspirations of its customers. Commissioner for Consumers Affairs, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Aisha Mahmood, blamed the recent collapse of national grid to inadequate gas supply, vandalism of power infrastructure, and gas pipelines.
So we are working on what we call partial activation of contracts, so that at least, by 1st July, we'll have more generation coming into the market, and there will be more accountability whereby, all contracts, most of the contracts will be activated, and, parties will be held responsible for their inefficiency.
The interactive session was indeed a time the electricity consumers demanded for answers from management of KEDCO Electric Distribution Company in the areas of power supply and legality of alleged taxing of customers in the community by KEDCO to repair or procure new companies' equipment, especially transformers. The managing director, KEDCO Yusuf Usman Yahya, said it is the responsibility of the company to provide new transformers in any community. He said KEDCO is working hard to overcome its challenges, urging customers to pay their bills as and when due.
We are encouraging customers on a change of attitude and the realization that this is a contract that we have that will providing the service that we do and issuing the bill that we provide our customers, that they would also reciprocate by paying their bills.
The interactive session featured presentations by Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and Kaduna Electric, where rights of customers and what is expected of them were highlighted. In Sokoto, Shehu Mohammed Detti, NTA News.
The report just reaching us says President Muhammadu Buhari is in Kigali, Rwanda, ahead of the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM 2022. State House correspondent Adam Sombo reports that the meeting is being hosted in Africa for the first time since 2007.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Kanombe International Airport, Kigali, at 9 o'clock Wednesday evening local time. On hand to accord him a befitting welcome were both the Rwandan and Nigerian top government officials. The president will be joining other leaders to participate in discussions focusing on the progress and prosperity of the more than 2 billion people living in the 54 Commonwealth member countries under the theme Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. The heads of state and government are expected to reaffirm their commitment to upholding the Commonwealth Charter, which focuses on democracy, human rights, the rule of law, as well as economic opportunities and sustainable development. Wide-ranging topical issues including post-COVID-19 economic recovery, debt sustainability, climate change, poverty reduction, youth entrepreneurship, and food security are scheduled for consideration at the high-level engagement.
For every Commonwealth country, program is always a very important meeting because there you discuss issues that are common to over 50 countries of the world that belong to the Commonwealth. So if you are a Commonwealth country and you are left out of it, then you are like a pariah nation. So it is very important that the Nigerian president is there. He is going to make keynote addresses. He's going to talk on key issues like curbing the malaria threat in Africa. He's going to talk about the post-COVID economy. He's going to talk about climate. He's going to talk about security. The theme is delivering a common future. So he's going to talk around that theme. And most importantly, in his speech, he's going to bid farewell to other Commonwealth leaders because he will tell them that this is his last Commonwealth meeting as the Nigerian head of state.
On the margins of the meeting, the Nigerian leader is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with some leaders from the Commonwealth countries, during which issues of common interest will be discussed. From Kigali, Rwanda, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Provision of affordable, accessible and quality healthcare delivery services is a key component of the 10-pact development agenda of Governor Zulum's administration in Borno State. Towards this end, more healthcare facilities and manpower are being provided by the present administration to cater for the health needs of the citizenry across the 27 local government areas. Mohamed Goni in this special report takes a look at the health sector in the last 3 years of Governor Zulum's administration.
Hospitals and other health centers were not spared in the destruction to public infrastructure in the 13 years of insurgency in Borno as epicenter. This informed the decision of Governor Zulum's administration on assumption of office to not only rehabilitate existing hospitals, comprehensive and primary health care centers, and unify operations, but also establish new ones across the state equipped with drugs and other consumables, as well as water and solar facilities.
In fulfillment of our electionary promises, the government of Borno State, under my leadership, has constructed a number of health projects in order to reduce the pressure on the tertiary health facilities in the state. And most importantly, we have provided health personnel. Human capital development is very important.
58 capital projects that include 74 primary healthcare centers across the state, rehabilitation of 8 general and specialist hospitals in MMC, Biu, Damboa, Mongono and Maguberi local government areas have been executed in the period under review. These medical services have also been extended to the settled communities, free dialysis sessions to patients with chronic kidney diseases among other ailments. As part of measures to retain medical doctors and other health workers, Governor Zulum closed the gap between the federal and the state government in terms of salary for medical doctors, while years of service before retirement for medical doctors and other certified health workers was extended from 35 to 40 years and other motivational measures. In addition, Governor Zulum approved special allowances for medical doctors and other health workers operating in hard-to-reach local government areas in the state, while retired medical and health workers were mobilized to return to work, all in an effort to revamp the health sector. Part of the incentive provided by government include construction of befitting doctors' quarters, one of which was recently inaugurated by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, and automatic employment recently approved for the 14 newly graduated indigenous medical doctors to change the narrative in the health sector, as well as training and retraining of health workers.
We
we need to start somewhere. We need to come to become consultants and come and work at the center.
Another giant stride taken by the Zulum administration is the introduction of contributory healthcare insurance scheme modeled after the NHIS, geared towards making healthcare delivery service more accessible and affordable to the public in line with global best practice. Governor Zulum administration also launched mobile clinics, drugs and other consumables to fast-track free medical healthcare services across the state. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Thank you, Mohammed. Now, this is to inform our esteemed awardees, clients, partners, and members of the general public that the June 23, 2022 Blueprint Newspapers Lecture and Awards Ceremony has been postponed. A statement by the Chief Operating Officer, Salisu Umar, indicates that the event was postponed as a result of the ECOWAS NEC meeting scheduled to take place on Thursday, where governors billed to attend our event play vital roles, as a new date will be communicated in due course. The statement deeply regrets the inconveniences the rescheduling might have caused. Nigeria achieves budgetary feats, giving 120 other countries a run for their... Welcome back. The Minister of State for Transportation, Senator Gbemisola Saraki, says there is need to sustain the Deep Blue project, as it will serve as a benchmark for member states in the Gulf of Guinea and relevant stakeholders. The project also provides a model for the innovative strategies to align with subsystem framework in improving maritime security in the region. The minister said this when she visited the Deep Blue Operations Center of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, in Lagos. Ruth Ario Samuel reports.
June 2021 in Lagos, President Muhammadu Buhari flagged off the Integrated National Security and Waterways Protection Infrastructure, also called the Deep Blue Project. It was done with a declaration that Nigeria can now boast of better capability to control its maritime domain. The project, which has provided a robust maritime security architecture, has enhanced maritime domain awareness and improved law enforcement action. The visit by the Minister of State for Transportation, Senator Gbemisola Saraki, to the Deep Blue Operations Center of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, was for fact-finding and for her to have first-hand knowledge of the project. She called for a robust synergy among security agencies in the protection of the country's assets.
Everybody work together as one in order to share information and in order to gather information and in order to respond to such information. But it's not peculiar to us. We all know what happened in September 11. Things happen, and we're hoping that we will achieve better collaboration, synergy amongst all of them.
On plans by Nigeria to be finally delisted from the list of countries with high rate of sea pirates, the Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Bashir Jamo, re-echoed the country's commitment to sustaining its surveillance operation.
Marketing companies, they are part and parcel of NIMASA, Nigerian Navy and other things, so they are seeing what we are doing. Apart from that, we created what we call Shed Gulf of Guinea, where the EU and other foreign organizations that they have stake in this issue of maritime security.
Earlier on, the Minister of State for Transportation inspected NIMASA ships under repair in Lagos. Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
Let's talk business now. International Monetary Fund, IMF, cautiously optimistic about global recession on its latest economic outlook as investors gained 153.89 billion naira in the capital markets. And details with Musa Abubakar. Musa, it's over to you.
Thank you, Fatima. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says it has downgraded projection for growth in April this year for 143 countries, which is 86% of global GDP. The IMF Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva, said this at the World Economic Forum meeting on global outlook. She said that 2022 is going to be tough, noting that there is commodity price shock in many countries, particularly soaring food prices. She said 3.6% is the IMF's prediction, and it is long way down to global recession, admitting that there will be recession in some countries that are highly dependent on imports from Russia, as well as weaker economic environment.
Is first for richer countries to stick to their pledges to support low-income countries. Two, for institutions like mine to, in relative terms, step up support for those who most need it. Last year we did $650 billion new allocation of special drawing rights. This year we are doing for the first time a massive transfer of special drawing rights from countries like France. They don't need this so much.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has faulted reports in media circles suggesting that the payments of overseas tuition fees from Nigeria will cost more as from January 2023 due to the purported withdrawal of the Form A discounted rate with effect from December 31st, 2022. The bank's position followed reports in certain media which quoted a tertiary institution in the United Kingdom as claiming that Nigeria had withdrawn the central bank from a discounted rate in order to encourage more funds to remain within the Nigerian economy. Speaking with newsmen in Abuja on Wednesday, the Director of Corporate Communications Department, Osita Wasobi, described the report as a false and the purported advisory as misleading and speculative. Wasobi said the CBN had not issued such a policy, even as he cautioned concerned parents and students to disregard any advisory to pay up as much portion of their outstanding fees as possible through flyware prior to December 31st, 2022. He urged all authorized dealers to ensure that payments for tuition outside Nigeria are made no earlier than 30 days prior to due date, even as he charged them to put in place measures to forestall abuse. And now to capital market. The stock market closed on a positive note this Wednesday for the second time this week. The all-share index appreciated by 0.56% to 51,377.21 basis point. 229.366 million shares value at 3.196 billion naira, and 4,536 deals were traded by investors. Awando, FCMB, and UBA were the top traders by volume. That's business news. Fatima.
Back to me. Thank you so much, Musa. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with marketing and strategic management expert Otumba Bimbo Ashiru on his appointment as board chairman of Odua Group, a conglomerate owned by governments of southwest states. The president opines that Ashiru's emergence is a vote of confidence in his track record as a banker of repute, a fellow of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, among others. He charges the new chairman to deploy his wealth of experience garnered over decades to take Odua Group to higher heights and justify the not giving him by the board of directors. The president extends his congratulations to the immediate and extended Ashiru family as well as their friends and well-wishers. Now, after improving by 24 points, Nigeria has posted her best performance in the Open Budget Survey for Transparency among 120 countries surveyed in 2021. This was revealed at the official launch of the Open Budget Survey 2021 report in Abuja. Leah Katubabatunde picks it up from here.
Open Budget Survey (OBS) is the only comparable and independent measure of budget transparency, participation and oversight in the world. The 2021 survey covers 120 countries and uses a questionnaire with 145 scored indicators drawn from international good practices. Presenting the outcome of the report, Senior Program Officer of the International Budget Partnership, Sally Tolbert, said that the transparency score of Nigeria was put at 45 in the 2021 survey, a significant leap from the 21 scored in the 2019 survey, making Nigeria's performance the second highest improvement worldwide.
Monthly reports that we saw released on time in this round is a really good first step in disclosing that information. There can be more done to help better link procurement data and budget data so that civil society groups can actually track procurement processes and see when they're delayed and what's happening because of that.
However, Nigeria needs to maintain and accelerate progress in budget transparency and aim for a score above 61, a view policymakers share.
We have implemented and continue to implement. It's a work. It remains a work in progress. The Strategic Revenue Growth Initiative. So as you can see, started from SRG I1.0 to 2.0, and actually we're moving on now to 2.1. So it's an incremental process.
Nigeria, they say, remains committed to all the pillars of the public finance management reform agenda, with domestic revenue mobilization at the center. In Abuja, Leah Baba today. NTA News.
The quest for the attainment of non-oil driven economy and less reliance on government jobs are achievable with adequate investment in agriculture and its practices. It is in this light that a non-governmental organization in Benue State, Alex Adingi Foundation, is donating improved palm seedlings across institutions to encourage the cultivation of palm trees in some states within the North Central region or zone. LSHF reports that NTA Network Center Makudi also benefited from this gesture.
The palm tree is said to be of immense benefit, as every part of the tree is of economic value capable of transforming the economic prospects of the nation and individual livelihoods in particular. This, the Alex Adingi Foundation, in partnership with the Blue Farms, believe is realizable if 20 million special variety of the palm trees are planted in the next 10 years in Benue, Nasarawa and Plateau states. Co-founder of the foundation, Alex Adingi, in a symbolic planting of the trees, is optimistic that with a donation of 20 seedlings to schools and corporate bodies each in the first phase, if properly nurtured, the states will become a hub for economic activities.
The second phase, as it is after 3 years, for those who are giving, those who are donating and those that are doing well, we are going to give them machineries to start extracting the oil and the byproducts of these products.
Zonal Director, NTA Network Center Makudi, Mr. Pamdun Nyang, who appreciated the gesture, re-emphasized that the organization will always key into such laudable empowerment initiative, which is capable of turning around the fortunes of the state and the nation in general.
That everyone who has an opportunity to partner with the Blue Farms and the Adingi Foundation, people should embrace it. It's a good initiative.
Aside from boosting internally generated revenue for schools and corporate organizations, the initiative has a potential of contributing to the fight against desertification, encouraging green vegetation, and creating employment for Nigerian citizens. In Makudi, Elias, ETF, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Elias. Now, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has presented group life insurance benefits to families of deceased personnel. Abdulrahman Jibril reports that more than 200 million naira was approved for the payment by the federal government.
Important emotional-led moment for the families of deceased personnel who have paid the full price serving the nation.
Indeed, it is a very challenging moment for me, I must confess. We live an indelible memory in our lives. A even as we implement today's occasion. Once again, we say thank you and God bless you.
The first batch of beneficiaries of this financial support is a chance to build and provide livelihood to their loved ones. And for the Commandant General, ensuring the security and welfare of personnel in discharging their duties would be of utmost importance.
Today, we are trying to recognize all the effort that they put in while they are in service. And that is why we have called their next of kin here today, their group life benefits for the loved ones that they have lost while they were in service.
Another batch is expected soon to bridge the gap in the payment, calling on those that have not been paid to be patient. In Abuja, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
A book that provides opportunity for further studies of the life and times of Ambassador Segun Olushola as a cultural messiah and an apostle of peace has been unveiled in Lagos. Annie Daniels reports.
The 136-page book is titled Insider's Story. It is divided into 8 chapters. The publication chronicles Ambassador Olusegun Olushola's eventful life, from cradle to his passing on exactly 10 years ago.
His role culturally in Nigeria is profound. It's known over the years to be the forefront of not just the refugee situation, but also culture, art, and drama in Nigeria.
Little wonder, those whose lives Ambassador Olusegun Olushola touched positively have come to be a part of the book.
Late Ambassador Olushola knew that in the absence of peace, Africa and indeed the whole world will continue to mingle in crisis.
When we were in the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, he produced a program on the prisons, which brought him into limelight.
The moral of our conversation today is to reduce and desist from every and any action that has the capacity to displace people, to cause a refugee crisis to ensue.
When we all become more concerned, not just on the media, not in the papers, but practically.
The author, Wole Adediran, was Ambassador Olushola's special assistant. His closeness and sincerity to the late broadcaster and diplomat, who was fondly referred to as Baba, earned him his trust and confidence.
The book has so many reasons. It's about you, the interview, you that is interviewing me. It's about everybody, not about Olushola alone. How? Are you sincere? What is your mission? Are you courageous?
Ambassador Olusegun Olushola's legacies have remained a source of encouragement and support to people the world over. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has charged officers and men of the Nigerian police to uphold the spirit of selfless service to the country towards the protection of lives and property of citizenry. The First Lady stated this while decorating her ADC, Usman Musa Shugaba, who has been promoted to Assistant Commissioner of Police recently by the Police Service Commission. And State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
Decorating the newly promoted Assistant Commissioner of Police, Usman Musa Shugaba, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, was joined by the Inspector General of Police, Usman Ali Baba, to perform the task. The newly appointed ACP Usman Shugaba, who is the aide-de-camp to the First Lady of Nigeria, has been described as a highly committed officer who performed his duties diligently. While congratulating him for this milestone achievement in his career, the First Lady urged him to take this elevation as a challenge to do more in serving the country.
Usman Shugaba is a highly committed senior officer in the Nigerian police today. And I wish Shugaba all the best in his new office, new appointment.
Promotion is an issue in the police. It is an achievement that comes through hard work, dedication to duty. So I want to congratulate Shugaba for reaching this far in his chosen career in the Nigeria Police Force.
ACP Shugaba, who was a chief superintendent of police until his recent promotion, was born in 1982. He joined the Nigerian Police Force in 2002 and served in various capacities within the force before his appointment as ADC to the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Thank you, Aliu. Another break beckons, Play of the Month. People are wondering why the monthly cyclical shedding of the inner lining of the womb considered as a physiological process. For some women, it can be unbearable and sickening. Chidima Ndubisi examines the underlying issues.
For 23-year-old patients, some days come with strength to carry out daily activities, conquering new grounds. However, there are particular days of the month she dreads. As a female within childbearing age, those days when she has to go through her monthly menstrual flow are inevitable considering its role in reproduction.
I do have these menstrual cramps that sometimes I'm always rushed to the hospital. Sometimes I will faint. The pain is always unbearable. I do stay throughout the day without taking any food till the next day. I've gone to see a gynecologist and they said it's normal.
She says her mother had similar experience but it stopped after childbirth, giving rise to the question of whether this condition known as dysmenorrhea, classified as either primary or secondary, is hereditary.
Some of it in the primary forms, you may check around, do all the checks, and you don't find any reason. Some women have some subtle infections, like endometritis, pelvic inflammatory disease. There can be growths on the womb itself. Some women have very commonly fibroids. Not all fibroids will cause painful periods.
How can it be managed? Are there treatment options?
Sometimes use of warm compress around there, and sometimes bed rest and all that may just help in the milder forms. However, by the time it is in the severe form that you call dysmenorrhea, it means that you will need to use drugs. So in the drugs that you use, you also move from the lower forms, lower levels of painkillers to the high end.
Health experts advise menstruating women to maintain high level of hygiene during this period.
Clean yourself, regularly. It's advocated that, you change your pads at least twice a day. Normally, you either throw them in a deep bin or you burn them. There are also washcloths that people use. When you take them off, you need to wash them and sun them. Again, you cannot share these washcloths with other people.
Women passing through this phase are requesting legislation for leave of absence from work, as obtained in some countries such as Japan, Indonesia, Taiwan, Vietnam, Zambia, and some parts of India and China, just as Italy, Mexico, Australia, and Spain are equally considering menstrual leave policies. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
Oh, interesting, Chidima, I must say now. More than 500 vulnerable persons with health challenges, mostly in rural areas of Bauchi State, have benefited from free eye screening projects of the wife of Bauchi State Governor, Aisha Mohammed. Charity Zako reports that the beneficiaries described this gesture as remarkable and called on other charitable organizations to focus more on public health.
500 persons drawn from the 20 local government areas of Bauchi State benefiting from the program described the gesture as a lift of burden to them considering the economic challenge in the country.
My eyes, I can see not clear. Yes.
Say thank you. God give us everything we want.
The initiative is a collaboration with Al Muhibba Foundation, owned by the wife of Bauchi State Governor Aisha Mohammed, in partnership with Middle East Clinic.
Free medicine every 2 weeks. We have the doctors. We are giving them some intervention. So even the last 2 years we did in hepatitis, we did it even for the checkup for the blindness, so on and so forth. So we have been doing it in different areas.
The program is expected to last the period of 4 days with free screening and free medication to vulnerable persons who are benefiting from the exercise in Bauchi. Charity Zakka, NTA News.
And to that one from Kaduna, 23 people have lost their lives as a result of gas explosion in Federal Village of Lere local government area of Kaduna State. Viewers' discretion is advised. The incidents occurred at a tea joint where locals converged to patronize the services of the tea seller. The gas cylinder exploded, killing 23 people instantly. Those who sustained various degrees of injuries are receiving medical attention at Saminaka General Hospital. In recent years, Nigerian football referees are yet to break the jinx of playing major roles in